All right, let's get into our next discussion now. The meeting between the federal government and the Academic Staff Union of Universities has again ended in a deadlock.
It looked like the issues at stake would be resolved when Labour Minister Chris Ngige said he had been directed by President Muhammadu Buhari not to leave the meeting until all issues that have kept children away from schools are resolved and the strike called off. But both parties couldn't reach a truce and the strike continues. Meanwhile, ASUU President Professor Biodun Ogunyemi says institutions that pulled out of the ongoing strike due to pressure from their vice-chancellors or governing councils would regret their actions in the future.
All right, now since the union commenced its nationwide strike in November 2018, at least 6 universities have pulled out of it and opened their doors to students.
All right, we have in the studio the chairman of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU Unilag chapter, Dr. Dele Ashiru. Good morning. Good to have you.
Good morning.
On the
Thank
show.
You for
good to have you.
Me once again.
Yes.
Yes, it's about the 10th week, if I'm correct, since November 4 when ASUU strike began. And gradually it's now beginning to look like not all members of ASUU, 6 universities have now pulled out. What does that indicate, for you?
Well, it shows the kind of society that we are in. Bear in mind that you are talking about 6 out of about 74 public universities in Nigeria. So 6 is still, infinitesimal.
Well, you wouldn't say a school like OAU, Obafemi Awolowo University, pulling out, carrying on with exams, is what you would describe as insignificant?
OAU is very strategic to our union, given its historical role in the struggles of our union. But in every historical phase, there are these ups and downs. There are a vast majority of our members in OAU that are on strike. That's why there has been squabbles about even the success of the so-called ongoing exam. And what is also happening in OAU is symptomatic of what is happening in the general Nigerian society. You have quite a number of people who wants to stand for principle, and some others who feel that, look, let's just muddle through. I think the point ASUU is making is that we should stop this muddling through and for once try and fix those identified, gray areas in the Nigerian education system. So if you then find a group of people who feels that, look, we don't care a hook what ASUU is saying, all we care about is to put, to make sure the school opens and you run exams in very shoddy, very haphazard manner, then it speaks volume about the kind of society that we are.
All right, we'll come back to dwell on this because we need to make Nigerians know how things are turning out. But for 79 days, Nigerian students have been away from school as ASUU and the federal government lock horns over remuneration and welfare. Now, Abosede Omoyi joins us now from the streets of Lagos to talk to Lagosians on this. Abosede, it's good to have you on now. What are Lagosians saying?
Well, so many views and voices coming from Nigerians and Lagosians especially. I'm in K2 area of Lagos this morning, and already I have some people here to speak to me what they think about this. Quite a number of them were reluctant because they feel that previous discussions regarding ASUU and the federal government didn't turn out as expected. But then I would just we'll get to hear them directly. Good morning, and thank you very much for joining me this morning.
Yeah, good morning.
All right, so talking about the ASUU strike, it's in its 79th day already. What do you make of the strike? Who do you expect to back down, or what is your advice to both parties at this time?
This is not the first time ASUU have been going on a strike. Actually, now, government should be serious on handling those issues. I supported ASUU to continue on the strike based on I heard yesterday that the meeting was deadlocked, and time has come for government should be serious on promises to ASUU. I implore the students to be, to be patient enough. They should be patient so that government should meet their demand. Because if they didn't do it now, they may not get it the other time. So I implore the government; they should be serious, and they should know that ASUU is very important in Nigeria. Actually.
Thank you very much for your views on that matter. Well, we've heard from him. Another Lagosian joins me now on this matter. Good morning, and thank you very much.
Yeah, good morning.
We're talking about ASUU strike. It's in its 79th day. ASUU is not backing down, although the federal government has promised it to make the payment, but ASUU wants proof that the payment will be made.
Yes, this ASUU strike has been an age-long problem, ASUU and federal government. I think now is the high time the government think about the people, because most of the government, they send their children outside the country to go and study. That's why they really know the pains. I think at this time around, they need to tell the ASUU how to be serious, how they are going to pay the money, and not keep on making promises at the end of the day and it will not be fruitful. So I am in support of the ASUU to continue the strike, to hold the government to see that at this time around they are serious for what they are saying. Because this is a electionary period where they will be making different kinds of promises. From then now, let them begin to fulfill this power so that they will continue.
But if you consider that students have been the ones bearing the brunt of the strike for 79 days now, they've been home, idle, nothing.
Yes, of course, the students are suffering it, and this is not the first time they are suffering. That's why people do carry over, and they say all works no pay make Jack a dull boy. You cannot keep on working without receiving a payment. Everyone will have one problem or the other to solve with money, and you can't keep on. That's why instead the person may seek for another job.
Thank you very much. Okay, well, I made attempts to get some students passing by to speak on this matter. I got some College of Education students who said they wouldn't talk because the strike didn't affect them. And that also brings to concern the role of students themselves in this call for the payment of the revitalization fund, by the federal government. Because in time past, the situation was that students would come out en masse, support the lecturers, and in the long run, you have the federal government do something. Okay. But this time, although Nance initially gave the federal government and ASUU an ultimatum, I really don't know how much of support
14 days.
Both parties are enjoying from the students.
Yeah, at the time.
All right, Abosede, thank you very much for being foot on the ground there on the streets. Thank you so much. Let's bring it back to the studio now to Dr. Dele ASUU. Now, I want us to dwell on that question Ngozi asked earlier before we move ahead. When ASUU is saying all the members that pulled out, you are going to have yourself to blame in the future, what does that mean?
Well, ASUU is a trade union, and no oppressor will willingly refuse to oppress you. You only have to stand your ground that this oppression it's all right, it's okay. Now you find a situation where university administrators are the same the world over, and it's a class struggle, between the haves and the have-nots. So if today you are dancing to the tune of your employer because it is convenient for you, I'm sure after this strike, they will have some axe to grind with those same administrators. And they will need a union,
to back them up.
Right. They will need a union to stand as a buffer for those oppression. That is when they will realize, the consequence of the action they are currently taking. When you have a convivial relationship and then you think that you don't have anything at stake, you can take whatever decisions that you like. But when the chips are down, you will really need a principled union like ASUU, to really defend you at that time. And it has happened in the past.
But
how about the new CONOA, this Congress of University Academics? It's like a new union pulling out of ASUU. What does that say?
CONOA is not a union. Okay. It's an association of, people who are aggrieved, on a number of decisions that our union are taking.
Yeah, but are you concerned?
As we speak, we are talking.
Yeah, but are you concerned that at least people who have members or unions that have been inside of ASUU and have struggled with ASUU over the years are coming to a level where they feel that what the agenda of ASUU no longer covers the way they feel, and they're pulling out of the union?
That's not correct.
Okay.
That's not correct. Let me tell you without any fear of equivocation that on all of the demands of ASUU, there is no disagreement between any of our members. Maybe the point is about method. And the Konwa problem started way before the strike. I mean, for the avoidance of doubt, Konwa came about as a result of some internal crisis, in OAU. And then the national body, being the only union anyway, others are mere branches, intervened in the matter, sent, delegations there. And on the strength of the report that was brought back, the union handed down some disciplinary measure to some of our members who felt that, look, we are not very satisfied with this decision. And rather than staying within the fold to resolve those, disagreements, they chose, to bail out and form Konwa.
And is that not likely to further jeopardize what ASUU, has been demanding from government? Well,
in the unity and formidability of
yes, and you know what they say about a divided house? How much really can you achieve? Now, the federal government, has been saying, look, we're committed. We have, in aggregating the sum we have paid so far, about 163 billion naira from TED Fund, that's a tertiary education, trust fund. That is it actually more than the 50 or 70 billion that you're asking for. That in itself shows that government is really committed. And as a matter of fact, Ngige, the Minister of Labour and Employment, was ready to sleep over to ensure that this problem is solved. Because you know what? The president has said, end this ASUU strike now.
But obviously he has failed to live up to the expectation of his principal, because he's not been able to end it. And let me make
Is it not because ASUU is not ready to cede ground?
No, let me make some clarification. You see, when you say ASUU is asking for money, ASUU is not asking for money. ASUU is asking government to release the money he had promised since 2012. How much? 1.3 trillion. Out of which President Goodluck Jonathan in 2013 released 220 billion. Now, we are saying that when we were to embark on this strike, we are saying that nothing short of the release of that money since 2013 will take us back to the classroom. Now, with the intervention of well-meaning Nigerians, negotiation and all that, you can't go to a negotiation and remain fixated. We are then saying that, okay, with all the arguments that have been traded, for us to go back to work, pay only one tranche out of 4. Now, still government is saying that we can't do that.
Because they don't have the money. That's what government is saying.
We have said it time and time again that it is not correct that government don't have money. Government have money for what they choose to have money for. And I can give examples. Skybank, 800 billion, unbudgeted. INEC, 240-something billion, unbudgeted. So maybe it is the grammar that we are blowing. Maybe we should change our narratives too. Let government bail out the education system like it did to Skybank. And with 800 billion, I mean, this problem will almost be permanently solved.
Yeah, but when government says we don't have all the money, but ASUU is saying, no, the money is there, is the knowledge of the money being there, is it based on assumption of the fact that...
It's based on facts.
Or is based on facts? The point there is, okay, the bank you called and INEC needed money, the money came out. So our money should come out too. Is it based on just that assumption, or there's a concrete knowledge of the fact that the money is there?
There is a concrete knowledge. In fact, a subcommittee set up by the negotiation committee suggested to government where they can source this money. Government itself agreed that the money is there, but it's encumbered. And ASUU is saying that if it's encumbered, lose all the encumberment and release the money. And even now, ASUU is even saying that, okay, if we're asking for a tranche and you still say you can't pay 50 billion as show of commitment and concretely say how you are going to pay the balance within the year. So you can see that, in fact, sometimes when I hear about deadlock, I get scared, because what is at stake here is that government is refusing to do what is the needful.
Now, the meeting held yesterday, still deadlocked, of course. What exactly was government's side in terms of explaining the situation at that meeting yesterday? Are you privy to, you know, what the government side of the story is?
Well, I can't tell the government side of the story. The story I can tell.
No. The meeting held yesterday, right? Of course,
yes.
you would have gotten some kind of feedback from ASUU.
Yeah,
you know,
the feedback is that
yes,
government is still yet to do what we think is right. And we run a risk of trusting a government we have trusted all along, and we will still need to come back to a strike to get them to even sit down with us.
But government says we've got some substantial agreement in most areas of the
7 areas.
Yes.
Yes, you see, like I said, the issues are together. It is disingenuous to want to then separate one from the other. For example, the most important issue in contention now is the revitalization fund. And that is the one at the heart of the struggle of our union. That look, we want to change a decaying environment that is inhibiting the way we work.
How much will 50 billion revitalization, which is what ASUU is insisting on, how much will that really revitalize the university system as it is now? Because, I mean, the disparity between 1.1 trillion, 250 or thereabout has been paid by the former administration,
220.
About 220. And as a matter of fact, Ngige did say that, you know, this debt is not even our debt, you know, but we're committed. But it seems you're not giving,
that is
you're
disingenuous.
not willing to cede
A
any ground
government
at all.
inherits the assets and liabilities of any government. And government is continuum. So he won't come today and say, we had an agreement with the Nigerian government.
We do understand that. My question is, how much will 50 billion achieve right now if government releases that amount?
You see, the projection of our union is, if you release 50 billion, we look at critical sectors in all of the universities. Like laboratories, like libraries, like classrooms. I once told you here, I was in Unilag a few years back, 35, 50 of us were in a class. That same classroom is now accommodating 150 plus. And because of age-long neglect, these things are like that. Bear in mind, if government had remained committed to the agreement since 2013, by now all of those infrastructures would have been fully revitalized. So we're also succumbing, you know, to the pressure from all quarters to say, okay, you may not get everything at once. Take this in the first instance.
And let's start something.
Start something,
right.
And as you do that, government lives up to its commitment, inject further funds, and I mean, before the end of the year, I'm sure a lot of things would have been, taken care of in the system.
Yeah, Dr. Dele Ashiru, ASUU Chairman Unilag, thank you so much for coming on the program. As time goes on, certainly we'll be talking about this more so Nigerians can understand all the sides that are involved.
Of course, we've already said thank you. And I'm just wondering whether ASUU is even engaging alumnus or alumni at all, because government has said, you know, government alone cannot solve the tertiary education problem.
All right,
well, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.